Do you think you could live in 1975? Think about it. Instead of the gentle sounds of your smartphone, how about being woken up by the ear-splitting noise of an actual ringing alarm clock? Or navigating a world without internet or Wi-Fi? Or making calls on a landline phone stuck to the wall? And forget Spotify, LPs and tapes ruled the day. So roll out the shag carpet, put on a pair of bell-bottoms, and lace up those roller skates as we compare life in 1975 to today. TV, movies, and music. At first glance, it's easy to think 1975 would be pretty boring without a smartphone or tablet in your hand, or the on-demand option to stream your favorite shows and movies, but there was still plenty of fun to be had, even if it wasn't exactly high-tech or even high-definition. Much like today, going to the movies was a fun pastime in 1975, and the first true summer blockbuster was Jaws, becoming the year's highest-grossing picture at the box office. It raked in $260 million in sales, which would be a staggering $1.5 billion adjusted for inflation today. Award-winning film One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was released that November, and at the time became only the second film ever to sweep the 5 major Oscars categories. Just like in 1975, people still love going to the movies, with today's feature films often dominated by comic book/superhero franchises, sequels and remakes, and big-budget blockbusters that are heavy on CGI effects. On the small screen, sitcom laughs ruled the day, with the All in the Family spin-off The Jeffersons debuting in January 1975, and Happy Days airing its first episode only 5 days later. Saturday Night Live broke the pre-taped sitcom mold when it debuted in NBC's 1975 fall lineup. TV still brings us sitcoms and LOL hilarity, with Saturday Night Live still going strong on network TV almost 50 seasons later, while laughs from shows like Ted Lasso keep us binge-watching from streaming platforms. When it came to entertainment for your ears, the era of classic rock vinyl albums was hitting its stride, with powerhouse acts like Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, and Kiss all releasing albums that year. But for those who would rather shake their bodies than rock out, the disco craze was being powered by chart-topping tunes from legends like Donna Summer, Gloria Gaynor, and the O'Jays. The most popular dance at every discotheque that year was The Hustle, whose accompanying hit song made it to #1 on 3 different charts. The disco craze did eventually fade, but fast forward to today and its influence lives on. Modern pop artists like Dua Lipa and Sabrina Carpenter still bring the disco vibe to the 21st century. While there may not be a dance as big as The Hustle, today it's all about practicing the latest TikTok dance and choreography trends. Technology to entertain. These days, pulling up our favorite shows takes mere seconds on our laptops, phones, or tablets, and on TV, it's as easy as picking up the remote. But in 1975, it ironically took quite a bit of effort to be a couch potato. In those days, while the remote control existed, its use wasn't widespread, so most people would have to physically get up to adjust the volume or change the channel on the TV. And those wood-paneled standard def TV sets didn't have a world of entertainment to choose from like today's smart versions do. The 3 major networks were broadcast over traditional airwaves, but even the wire-based cable packages that are being cut today in favor of streaming were scarce at the time, with less than 10% of all American households even having cable TV in 1975. That number peaked in 2010 at around 85%, but the cord-cutting era of streaming continues to cut into the cable business, with roughly 40% of households still having cable TV in 2023. Now, if you wanted to listen to some music, you could plug in your wired headphones to the home stereo system or blare your tunes through the giant speakers of the time. AM/FM terrestrial radio and vinyl records provided the tunes, alongside 8-track tape cartridges that played on a continuous loop of only 8 songs and had no rewind feature, so you'd have to wait to hear your favorite song again. While the cassette tape was starting to grow in popularity, taking your music on the go was still out of reach, since the Sony Walkman wouldn't be released until the end of the decade. Thankfully today, apps like Spotify or Apple Music give us access to much more than 8 tracks at a time. And with smartphones and wireless earbuds, we each have our own personal soundtrack wherever we go. Gotta make a call when out and about in 1975? Then you better find a payphone and hope you had a dime to make the call. When it came to communication, FaceTime wasn't an option, since phones of the day were restricted to audio-only landlines, usually tethered to a wall, and calls were typically dialed with a tedious rotary mechanism before touch-tone dialing became widespread in the 1980s. Of course, all that is out the window today thanks to the device we have in our pockets. More like a mini computer that also makes calls, smartphones provide us with instant audio, video, text, and photo messaging that is buoyed by social media networking. And of course, Wi-Fi facilitates all that communication without being bound by any cords and wires. Dig in the 70s vibe? Then go ahead and smash that subscribe button and hit that like button. Now let's keep on truckin'. Toy fads and video games. When it came to games and hobbies in 1975, there were plenty of options, if a little lower tech than we're used to today. And the biggest phenomenon of the year was the lowest tech thing you could think of, a rock. Inventor Gary Dahl patented and sold pet rocks as a simplified alternative to owning a real, living, and breathing pet. Pet rocks were even sold in carrying cases, complete with grass beds and air holes as if you were bringing home a bunny or a hamster from the pet shop. Whether through charm or curiosity, the pet rock fad was a hit in the latter half of 1975 before fizzling out after Christmas. But the short-lived fascination wound up making Dahl a fortune. He purportedly sold more than 1 million boxed rocks at $4 each. On the tech toy front, a one-dimensional, low-definition video game was on every kid's Christmas wish list in 1975 as Atari released the first home version of its video game, Pong. If board games were more your speed, Payday was the most popular one of all in 1975, even outselling perennial favorite Monopoly. Nowadays, board games are still a hit and have even moved outside the confines of living rooms and basements to become a popular trend with board game cafes popping up all over in the 2010s and 2020s. And of course, video games have come a long way since Pong. Major consoles from Sony, Xbox, and Nintendo are leading the charge, and smartphone mobile gaming is accessible no matter where you are. Home sweet home. The decor choices of a typical 1975 home would have most of us today booking an optometrist appointment. Home design was dominated by aesthetics with earthy shades of orange and brown, wood-paneled or stuccoed walls, and thick shag carpeting. While surrounded by those questionable choices, kitchens of the day were often furnished with coil stoves and refrigerators that, decades before the avocado toast craze, strangely all seemed to be colored avocado green. Nowadays, minimalism is the key with stainless steel appliances and subtle coloring choices at home, and open concept floor plans allowing for more flow and less separation. Microwaves and induction cooktops have revolutionized the kitchen, and be it shag or otherwise, the choice of flooring today is less of a struggle to keep clean thanks to robotic vacuum cleaners. In 1975, today's smart home technology was something only seen in a science fiction movie. Fun and fashion. Getting out for a little fun looked a bit different in 1975, with disco fever making discotheques the nightlife hotspots if you were in the mood to bust a move. If you wanted the same energetic experience, but on wheels, you could head to the roller rink. Roller skating was all the rage, and you could wheel around under a disco ball in a more all-ages appropriate atmosphere. Need a fresh new outfit for school or work? Well, the local shopping mall was still the fastest and most convenient way to gear up at the time. If you had the time and patience, mail-order catalog shopping was the way to get fresh threads shipped to your door, but it usually took about 4 to 6 weeks to arrive. Today, if you go out dancing at the club, your outfit likely showed up in a box at your door, but it sure didn't take 6 weeks. In today's world, the e-commerce experience, spearheaded by outlets like Amazon, make the transactions quicker, easier, and more convenient with next-day and even same-day delivery options. Now, in 1975, there were a few tricks and trends to looking your best. Working from the top down, Afro-style perms were a big hit at all the hairdressers. But from the ground up, the trendiest look consisted of platform shoes accenting bell-bottom pants. Migrating from the tennis court to the retail rack, athletic wear made the 70s sporty, with tracksuits becoming popular options. Fashion in the 2020s combines going out with going green, as shoppers are increasingly mindful of sustainable and eco-friendly options. Another major shift is that compared to the 70s when fashion choices were mainly guided by music and movie stars or magazine models, today's fashion cues also include social media trends and YouTube influencers. Hitting the road. Getting around in 1975 presented its own challenges. However, one of the biggest challenges, unfolding a giant road map to get where you're going, is gone. Thanks to satellite GPS, Google Maps, and similar apps on our smartphones and built into our dashboards, we're always pointed in the right direction. If you were driving in 1975, you probably had to know how to drive stick, since most cars on the road had manual transmissions. Most American car manufacturers began offering automatic options in their high-priced full-size cars a year earlier in 1974. And the upward trend of automatic cars continued with 1975's best-selling model, the Oldsmobile Cutlass. That year, 324,610 of them were sold across the USA, and less than 1% of them were built with manual transmissions. In modern times, standard transmissions are the exception rather than the norm, with smart car technology taking over the roads. Hybrid and electric vehicles, many with self-driving options, are now being produced by most of the major car manufacturers. 2023's biggest seller was the Ford F-Series of trucks. Of the 750,789 sold, over 24,000 of those were the eco-friendly F-150 Lightning electric model. There are more than a few differences between the dance moves, dress codes, and technology of the 70s and today. Pet rocks are long gone. The sleek, modern bricks in our hands make it easier to order a bite to eat, watch a movie, or share a laugh than any gadget from 1975. But things like family, friends, and the occasional popular but embarrassing dance craze will always be part of our lives both now and then. So do you think you could go back and live in 1975? Let us know in the comments below, and stay right here to keep watching another Now and Then video. Thanks.